I think it's working this time. I think it's not. Okay, so my goal now is to get the bandsaw working. I'm gonna get the bandsaw working, and then I will start making the bracketry to hold this thing together. Yeah, and my bandsaw is pretty crappy. It's a jet, which is like maybe a step up from fucking Pittsburgh or something. I don't know. Turns out, getting bandsaw blades is easier than I thought if you're willing to pay. A company called Supercut. They have their bandsaw blades at Harbor Freight, actually. They're down the street from me. I did not know this. And I was looking up bandsaw blades near me. And nothing came up. So I called the hardware store, Ziggy's. And I was like, hey, I'm looking for some bandsaw blades. No, that's there used to be a place called Supercut down the street from us. They do bandsaw blades, but they're not there anymore. I don't know if they went out of business or if they moved. I looked up Supercut, thinking that maybe they were a tragedy from COVID. And it's kind of a natural, response or thought process now. And turns out that no, they just moved to a bigger facility in the 90s. So apparently, the dude I talked to has worked at Ziggy's since I was in high school. Of course, they say their blades are really good. They're welded quite well. They're welded pretty well. Yeah, I can see a little bit of steam. Like maybe it was total penetration, but they did grind it after they welded. In the last place I used to get them from, they did grind after they welded it. And they would, the steam would come around and go pump, 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 and that was really annoying. Well, they don't burn this too far. We'll see if it's annoying. Um, there was 30 something bucks a piece. 35 a piece. The same one. Assembly my shop. I mean, I guess technically it's different, but don't travel. Behind me here, side by side. program at continuous flow engines is different for each cylinder. Timings of each cylinder, the exhaust, they said is separate for each cylinder. We did a thing. That's what that fucking means. One to the good one, to the bad one. Curious who he is. Who is we? How many we? Sonic 1950s interpretation of AI, he says. Huh. Is it just too quiet? Or, oh, it's too far away? Like that? Is that any better? Looks like the mic gain is set really low for some reason. No, no, check. Mm-hmm. That seems like it's at full blast. Here. You know, there are buttons on this thing. I did touch them yesterday. Check. You know, the whole thing like read instructions. I didn't do it. I have no idea what the sentence works. The beeping? Is that we're getting the beeping sounds? Huh. Check. Maybe it's just my ears. I'm hearing beeping sounds. So that might. Stereo mics. That's right. You one on each of my strings to my hoodie. And then set left and right, and then do stereo mics. It says 0 to frame rate. But yeah, I can hear this skipping and everything. Audio. It's only 30 kilohertz. Alright, I changed the audio settings. That's good. Okay. Change the mic gain a little bit, so that changed it. Alright. Check, check, check. Yeah, that sounds a little better. I'll try that. Okay. Now let's see what the heck my friend did. He said we did a thing. No. Wow. Sorry, guys. This guy has been doing something to this card. I've been telling him, don't do that, don't do this. Trying to keep him from doing stupid shit, and he keeps doing stupid shit. And he just blew up his brand new 6-speed by putting longer into it. So that's a bummer. All right, one more thing. Okay, we got that done. Got that done.
Now we need to get the gear assembly, put and oil pump. Put on the short block here, just as a mock-up. Excuse me. Sorry, I sneezed right in the mic. Oh, I just heard my audio come back from me from the sneezing. That was ear rape. Sorry about that. This is going to be a challenge. This block has been mainlined so many times that it's hard to get pumps on. That's what hammers are for, though, right? You like a glove? Oh, perfect. I'm not even putting any bolts in it. Like this is just for mock-up, so I need to get the spacing correct for the oh, that's a problem. Use a Scotch right on the crank, but I couldn't find any. I don't know where I put it. I got a whole box of it somewhere. I use a steel wool. I don't recommend that for an engine you're gonna run. Definitely don't recommend that on an engine you're gonna run. Getting steel wool and an oil pump relief valve would be bad freaking news. That's a quick way to ruin your stuff. So don't do that. Please don't use any of these things you're seeing me do now as engine assembly tips, because they are definitely not that. I'm trying to get this on without breaking any teeth, because I want to use the speed sensor as a crank sensor as the RPM indication. Oh, come on. There we go. Well, if it doesn't go in the hole, you gotta spit on it, right? This is getting to be a obstacle course. I'll definitely straighten these things up in a minute. This is the kind of thing that's perfect for a time-lapse video. Oh, that does not want to go in. It just stops like a quarter-inch in. What point do I say F it and force it? I'm going to tap it. See what happens. Ooh, that is tight. Yeah, that's probably not getting enough. Oh, no, that's a... Okay. I'm going to put it this drawer. Oh, fuck, it's not going to work either. Darn it. I've got a brake cone. I was going to use a brake cone to just hone it. But the keyway is the same size as the stones. They just lock right in there. So I'm just going to do manual brake honing to it. Again, not recommended to some procedures here. This is if you see my 3-day race build, that's also loaded with things not to do. So if you haven't seen that 3-day race build, where I use actually this block here, when it was already highly used then. And I use this block and spare parts out of my garage to build a car for the import face-off or streetcar challenge, or whatever it's called, in Spokane. I built in 3 days. Just like I said, all spare parts that I had floating around. I do a lot of questionable things in that video, things I don't recommend. I love people ask me for advice and then argue with the answer. You should do it to me. You should email me for advice and argue with me about it. It's a quick way of making me tell you to go F yourself. But the internet said, they give no fucks what the internet said. You fucking asshole. What the fuck? Get the fucking torch in a minute. Goes on a quarter of an inch and just stops and just hits a wall. And I can't feel any lips on here at all. Why it would stop, just like it hit a fucking brick wall. I can see where it's hitting, but there's no lip there. Like, I guess this crank just gets bigger as it goes back. Get a torch and a welding glove. Heat this thing up, slide it on there. But then never getting it off. And I didn't bolt this oil pump down or seal it or anything because it's just supposed to be for mock-up. So I don't want to do that yet. So I guess I just have to know that the belt sits here. I wanted to use my crank pulley to turn the engine. If you haven't seen this, this is my crank pulley for the dry sump. So it uses the AC section. It's relieved in the back too, so you don't get to cut your valve cover, or your timing cover to put it in. It uses the 8mm tooth instead of the 5mm tooth like some of the other pumps use. The 8mm is much stronger. It actually turns out to be the same as our time belt, I think, right? Yeah. Yep, sure is. So same as the time belt, and which means I can technically use this attached to the motor with one of my drive belts. I'll show you this one here. Here's one of them. This is the 8mm, so it actually fits. Let's see here. It's really damn close. Oh, not quite though. It's really close. Oh, look at that. I really thought our time belt was an 8 metric 8. It's not. It's just a little off. Just a little bit. Interesting. This one though is. You see here it fits perfectly all the way around. So this BP guy up here, I have a longer one thankfully because this one's too short, but it'll go on here this way. About there-ish. And then go up to the drive. And that's how I'm going to turn the crank. Now it'd be cool though if I could use the crank one. I would get higher speed out of it with a small diameter, turn on the crank pulley, then I could mount my oil pump here and run it off my pulley. And that would be a really cool way to test it, honestly. This doesn't really fit though. I mean, it might fit enough to actually work because it only needs to hit like a handful of these, but it wants to skip as I pull it through. So I don't know what this is. I really thought this was an M8. It looks like it fits perfectly. The first 3 teeth, 5 teeth, and then it stops fitting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it gets the six teeth of fitment, and then whatever available slop is there is gone, and it no longer fits. It starts to skip over a tooth. So it would run like this, and then skip, and it would run for a little while, and then skip. If I had too much engagement. If I do just 6, like this, you see if I do a little bit of engagement, it'll actually work. So I still potentially could do that. And that way I can run the oil pump off of my crank pulley and demonstrate how it works. That, however, might be an issue if I don't have enough belts. So my wife said something last night. She goes, "How's your progress today?" And I said, it wasn't great. I didn't get nearly as much done as I wanted to because I was having issues with stuff. And she said, "So you're filming next week?" She's the best. I love her. Let's see. Okay, I got some chat stuff coming in finally. Sounds right. I'm listening while riding my 1290 Super Duke. Oh, neat. More stories and rants. I usually can't feel lips either, mainly just teeth. Took me a second there to see where you were going with that. I was thinking car stuff. Yeah, those molars will get you. Okay. Yeah. Stories. I did tell some stories yesterday, didn't I? Told you guys a bunch of stories yesterday. I can tell you more stuff today. Is there a subject you want to know about? Really, I should have my own channel called Dad Advice or Dad something because I've done so much in my life, and sometimes it's too much and somebody says, "Oh, dude, I'm totally going through some shit." They tell me what it is. I'm like, "Yeah, dude, I think I was like 8." I went through that, so like, you'll get through it. So I think with all the shit I've been through, it kind of makes me a little snooty, to be honest with you. But if you got a topic you want to hear a funny story about, or an interesting story, or some life stuff, or something. Oh, I didn't tell you guys is that I was also doing an experiment this week on my body. I don't think I told you guys this, but I'm allergic to eggs and chicken, of all stupid things. Not like anaphylactic shock type allergy, but I eat it, and then my lips or throat starts to itch, or my esophagus. Well, it's always my esophagus. My esophagus always starts to have like spasms. Feels like really bad heartburn. But like worse. I don't know how to describe esophagus spasms. And then eventually it gets in my stomach, and my stomach starts to react. Obviously, eventually it gets up pretty quick, but the reaction starts to happen, and then I get a stomach ache, and then I get fucking diarrhea and all kinds of stuff. And so that's why I eat eggs. If I eat chicken, though, chicken is just delicious, and I don't notice any problems until the next day when I can't get out of fucking bed. All my joints hurt like you wouldn't believe, and it's just like total misery. And it's almost 3 days of misery. Like I can't move for 3 days, and I'm trying to do things. And I think I've said this before on stream. And I go walking, and my soles, my feet hurt, and everything else. Right? So it really sucks. So what I did yesterday is I ate some turkey eggs to see if they mess me up. And I don't think they did. Because I ate something else yesterday that I know messed me up. So I have to do the turkey egg experiment again. But if it goes poorly, then I'll be running to the bathroom tomorrow. So it could get exciting, Like, hey guys, how are the? Oh, I gotta go. And then you go, what do they call it? Not turkey trot, but something trots. And trot my way to the bathroom. All right, clean some of this stuff here. Get this thing better organized so we can have some fun with it. Crank sensor, important. So anyways, the big reason for me streaming today was just to give you guys an update, tell you that I didn't do shit other than work on get my bandsaw and other stuff together. My poor kitty, she got a tumor or a mass or some shit. Had to get that cut out. While they're in there, they clean her teeth. It reminds me of, I had a colonoscopy once, and I told him I had this skin tag on below my eye. It was a big skin tag, and it was really annoying. And I woke up from my colonoscopy with a Band-Aid on my face. The doctor, while he was in there, he was like, "Let me just give this for you." Made an incision and cut it out and put 2 stitches in it and put a Band-Aid on it. Thought that was really nice of him. So my poor cat has something similar. She goes in to get a tumor removed and gets teeth cleaned and x-rayed. And so the doctor showed me pictures of my little kitten. I say little kitten, she's 15. Pictures they took while she was in there getting worked on. Mouth open, tongue hanging out, like she was dead. My little kitty. She's all passed out. Okay, here we go. So if you're writing, you can't text and tell me a subject. That occurred to me now. You can't say, tell me about this. Oh, I can check this out. 5-point Torx. Ooh, these are good for AVCS solenoids, which are 5 points, I believe, and idle air control motors on EJ20s. Idle air control motors, so you can take them apart and clean them and make them work again. Because unless they burn up internally, they shouldn't go bad. What happens is they gum up and they stop working. So I got this nice little socket set. So I can fix idle control motors on EJ20s. There's a 240 that we're working on. It's got an RB20 in it. RB20 and a 240. And we're putting a new manifold on it because this manifold was fucked up. It was some $90 eBay thing, and it was just really, really bad. It was leaking from every spot. Some bolts were broke off in it. It was the throttle body that came with it was leaking out. There's both sides of the shaft and anywhere else that it could leak. It was just really, really bad. So I'm like, yo, dude, you need a better manifold because this thing's leaking like crazy. And he wanted to fix it, and then finally decided not to, and went and bought a real manifold that looks really nice. But one thing that we were doing is putting a WRX throttle body on it because the RBs have terrible idle control. They just have really, really bad idle control. And the WRX has really good idle control. The throttle body with integral idle motor on it works really, really well. So we're adapting a WRX throttle body to this manifold. However, today, it sounds like he doesn't want to do the WRX throttle body. He wants to do the throttle that came with the manifold, which is some bigger billet aluminum throttle body that doesn't have idle control. So now we're going back a bunch of steps with no fucking idle control. So that's going to be a fun time. Unless he just buys an idle control motor from like Haltech or something, we could wire it in. Because, I mean, it needs fucking idle control. Let's just get that out there. The engine should have it. And I don't know why people try and skimp on shit that's important, like a freaking idle air control motor. Which reminds me, let me text. Yes, I'm aware of the charge. What the fuck? Why would you send that to me? I don't fucking care. Ugh. Sorry. Okay, so the thing that they did was put a suppressor on the P90. So that's a good thing to do. I like that. Sorry. Well, this is boring as shit. Boring as shit for me too, so I know it's boring shit for you guys. Just trying to do all these little things to get stuff ready, and it just goes by really, really slow. I don't know, dude. Sorry. It's got these messages, and I should just ignore them. This should do. I don't know, just yes. I want people to take advice better. Like this other guy's got a car that's running really, really bad, and he's got a TD04 in it with 1200cc injectors. I'm like, yeah, I mean, you got 1200cc injectors, and they're FICs on top of that, which are absolute terrible injectors. And I know that the internet doesn't agree with me on that. Okay. This has got to go way forward if I'm going to use that pulley. Or it can go here if I use the crank. I use the crank one. And I can go right here. And to miss the crank sensor, I've got to be this way just a little. Right there. Oh, forward now. That sensor I just put in is now in the way. So I have to go higher than that. So I have to get my longer belts for that. But I want to go on the other side. I guess my oil pump has to go over there. Well, I can do lower down here, I guess. Let's see about that. Okay, so I guess that's the step, is to figure out what my longest belt is, and if I can use it to run this on the crank trigger gear or the crank pulley gear. Yeah. Okay. Well, there happens to be a bolt right here on the block. So one bolt could technically fit right there if I have a belt long enough for this. Let me go right there. Now, the other question is, can I turn the water pump? And that's a big fucking negatory on that. Can't turn the water pump. Now, if I put the heads on it, no, because I don't want to turn a cam. I don't want to turn any cams. The water pump's way over there. So do I make two mounts then? Or do I mount this over here for both tests and then mount my oil pump separately and do a separate pump with separate test with my oil pump? Because it doesn't have to be on the engine. It's a dry sump pump. So I can make a separate jig to hold it. And so I can put this here-ish to there's a hole in the top here too. Where's it at? Right there. That is not forward enough. It's way too forward, so that won't work. This one, however, is the perfect distance. So this will, also this sheave can go in and out some too. So it gives me more ability to fuck with things. So if I put this right here on that mounting hole, that gets me right above the water pump. And I could probably run then. Now, if you know, the water pump's got a smooth pulley and this one is cogged. So the water pump runs on the backside of the timing belt, which means that this has to go down around the geared pulley and across the water pump. But on the engine, it comes across the bottom, hooks on the water pump, and then it goes on the gear. But this means that the belt's going to be coming down. So I'm going to miss a lot of the water pump. If I miss a lot of the water pump pulley, then I will not get full speed. The belt will slip on the water pump, and I won't get accurate water pump flow. So that means I got to figure something else out for that. It's almost like I need to run it off the crank so that I can follow down the crank and come out at it from a different angle. But then that angle might not work because the pressure relief is right here. So then that means I got to go even longer down to the idler down here and run it on this idler. Now, this idler is normally smooth, but I could put a geared idler on this, put a geared idler right here, and then run it straight across to the water pump on the smooth side, the other geared idler then up around this, and then straight down to that. I can bypass the crankshaft altogether. I can do that right from this path. Oh, that might hit the crank sensor. But I could put a smooth one somewhere else to guide it around the crank sensor. Put a smooth one here. Yeah, go that way. Or smooth in here. Take the crank one off, run it through here, under this guy to this guy. Do a smooth, and then, yeah. So now I need an even longer belt that I know I don't freaking have. So maybe this week there won't be any testing going on at all. It'll just be me figuring out what the heck I need as I build the mounts and all of that, and figure out a way of doing it. And then next week I test all the products, because it's sure looking like that's the way it's going to work. Especially when I have in-laws coming in tonight. I got in-laws coming in, so I'll be doing work and entertaining the in-laws. So that's fun. Okay, so where else can I put it? I can mount to the bottom, but I do want to test this by running the engine with an oil pan on it, because I want to see how long it takes to empty an oil pan. And I want to spin the water pump with it. I don't need an oil pan to spin the water pump, but I do want the heads. No, for the water pump I don't want the heads on. I want the heads off for that. I want the heads on for the oil test. I gotta piss. So I should potentially make a mount that can hold the engine over here, or hold the motor over here to turn the water pump, or underneath, and then one on top to hold it to test the oil pump. That's a lot of fixtures. That's a lot of freaking fixtures. Well, dude, first off, I'm really sorry. That sucks. That's not an experience anybody wants to go through. Obviously, that goes without saying. And so I'm really sorry that something that you got to go through right now. Obviously, the type is important, because that dictates what life is going to be like, whether it's something that, you guys can do surgery and, she potentially be fine, or if it's a guaranteed terminal thing, well, then that's really crappy. And I'm really sorry to hear that. Yeah, loss is hard if it goes that way. But before then, obviously, trying to tell her everything's gonna be all right. Honestly, sometimes you just gotta lie. If you don't believe it or you do believe it, either way, you just gotta lie. If it's something, if you're not sure, like you don't know if it's gonna be okay or not, as you said, you don't know if it will be. It's hard to comfort with just words when, like you said, you want to go home and you want to give her a hug and, pet her hair, give her a kiss on the cheek or whatever. You know how that goes. So I feel you on that, and I personally worry about something happening and losing my wife, or her getting hurt. I watched that video where the couple were riding motorcycles, and he did a wheelie and she stopped and he ran into her and she lost her leg. And I saw that yesterday. And I was like, man, like, I don't know that guy, but I know me. And if I was to hurt my wife like that, you would need to put me on suicide watch, because I don't know if I could live with doing that, to my wife. And that poor dude has to live with that shit. Um, so just the thought of hurting her, you know, crushes me. Just the thought of that's something that happening. And so losing her, or her just going through something, traumatic like that, is definitely hard. And and for you personally, you're going to go through a lot of emotions and stuff, and you're going to need someone to talk to that's not her about it, even while she's going through it, because you're not going to want your own stress of it, to be put on her or her to be responsible for any of it and all that. So first things first, make sure you get set up with somebody that you can talk to for yourself, because you're going to need to vent and you're going to need to express, all the emotions, anger, sadness, regret, etc. So you're definitely going to need to talk to somebody for you. And the more you do that, and the stronger you can be for her, obviously she's going to be leaning on you through all of this as well. And um, you're going to need to be strong for her. And that's tough for sure. So, but in order to be strong for somebody else, you got to take care of yourself too. And so you got to make sure that you have someone lined up. Find someone, whether it's just a counselor or a family member that's been through it, or somebody that's not afraid to listen to you, someone who's not too close to it, um, because like I said, I don't know what it is, and if it's something that it's finger cancer and you lose your finger and she's okay, that's great. But if it's not, if it's something worse than that, um, and it's a long process, with chemos and treatments and diapers and that kind of stuff, right? There are gonna be times where you're frustrated, and you're definitely gonna want to have someone you can talk to and say, God dang it, this is so terrible. And not have them be like, I know your wife's name, but but it's Tiffany, you can't be that way. You don't want that combative thing when you're trying to vent and work out your own feelings and stuff too. Because obviously you don't want to lay it on her too much. So first thing is make sure that you got yourself going, for this long-term battle. Now, as far as right now, while you're away, I mean, all you can do is be encouraging. That's all you can do. Tell you love her, tell her that no matter what, that's not going to change. That regardless of the outcome, that you're going to be here, you're going to be with her forever. To just shower her with affection and support the best you can. I don't know your guys' relationship, so I don't know what makes her tick. Um, I know my friends and their wives, and they're all different. And I can tell you, some of them want tough talk, some of them want compassionate talk, and some of them, they want different things, and they're affected, by words differently. Um, I don't know you and your wife's love languages. I don't know how you guys communicate. My wife and I are very physical, and less verbal. So, I mean, we do say those things all the time. I love her, I tell her I love her every day. Um, I hug her, I kiss her, I hold her hand. I'm always, um, showering her with affection, a lot of physically, and some text messages and that kind of stuff too. But we're also very independent, so we can go on vacations and talk once or less than once a day and just share some text messages and that kind of stuff. Um, so I don't know your guys' love language, so I can't tell you, what types of things she will like. That's something that you know. But all I can say is, if you know her well, you know what she needs, um, and just try and give that to her. Try and give her the encouragement and affection and the reassurance that you're going to be there the whole time. You know, don't keep things in, because sometimes people who are going through shit, who are suffering, they will avoid sharing to what extent they're kind of freaking out inside because they don't want to put it on you. Um, Make sure that she knows that she can put it on you. But in order for you to handle it, like I said, you're going to talk to somebody, a counselor or something. She doesn't even necessarily have to know, or maybe she does know. Maybe you guys go together. I don't know. But you definitely need someone solo on that. But encourage her, shower with love, and all you can do is talk to her on the phone and tell her that you guys can make it work, and that you're here for her no matter what. And yeah, I have the VA. Yeah, and VA has people to talk to. So like you definitely have that available to you. So you can go for primary care, but it's actually somebody you're talking to. I also have the VA, so I know all about it. I don't know where you live or how good your VA is, but they definitely have people to talk to. I mean, they deal with a lot of people with PTSD and all that kind of stuff. So, um, yeah. Now, also, just a little bit of thing. Don't catastrophize. Don't catastrophize to yourself, and don't let her do it. I'm not sure I understand. That's because you're a robot. And if you don't, that is where when something happens, you immediately default to like everything's fucking over, and you know that's it. Like I am really bad at doing it, and luckily I know that, and so I can often catch myself. But it is the talent that I have that makes me so damn good at burning bridges. I am, dude, I am a professional bridge burner. Let me tell you. And it also leaves me saying sorry a lot. But when you catastrophize, something happens. It's the end of the world all of a sudden, and you make rash decisions based on it. Could be telling someone to fuck off, like I have 1,000 times. It could be whether it's a person or a company, like your internet goes down for the third time in a month. You're like, fuck it, I'm done with this place. And you turn off your internet without having a new one lined up. Yeah, I've done that without having a new one lined up already. So that kind of stuff can make it harder. You can make rash decisions and make it worse than it is. Like I said, I don't know what it is, and maybe it's someone's got a super high survival rate, and it's actually really easy. But because the word cancer is involved, you guys are like, oh, freaking out, right? That could be. And so for that, I say just make sure you don't catastrophize and don't overreact to this stuff. Also, be patient, and it's really hard to be patient, dude. Trust me, I know it is super hard to be patient. I've had health issues myself, and it feels like every minute is a minute wasted towards getting you fixed or cured or whatever. And the fact is that another couple hours ain't gonna fix it, and it's not gonna make it any worse either. And sometimes a couple days, a couple weeks ain't gonna make it any worse either. So through the whole process, while you're doing that, remember that there are millions of people that need health care, and that your situation isn't necessarily made worse or better by a few hours, or a few days. Um, Even though each day feels like an eternity and of agony, but if you dwell on it too much or have issues with it, then it'll be worse. It'll be a less pleasant or more unpleasant experience than otherwise. So um, just when you start feeling a certain way, just look at yourself, look at the situation, and say, am I catastrophizing? Am I overreacting? Is this next hour or two really going to matter? I'm sitting in this lobby again for a little while longer. Things like that. That's the best advice I can give you as far as the healthcare aspect of it is concerned. Obviously, nothing in our nothing in our healthcare system moves quickly. Everything is slow, so you'll be doing a lot of waiting, and the wait can be maddening if you don't go into it knowing that you're going to be waiting, and understanding that it's 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 just going to be hard. I guess you just got to know that, but also know that as humans, even though we are just big bags of blood and get the blood out, it's over. Um, Outside of that, we're remarkably resilient. Remarkably resilient. And there's a lot of stuff that we can heal from and come back from. And even some stuff outside of modern medicine that people don't know. Sometimes it's just sheer willpower, mental state, In some cases, even just a 4-day fast, believe it or not. Something happens to your body after 36 hours not eating, you hit this like regeneration state, and people start to cure shit. Like it's weird. So there's stuff out, like I said, outside normal medical field that they don't necessarily recommend or understand yet. A friend of mine, a friend of mine had he got food poisoning in the Navy with us. We're both in the Navy. He got food poisoning, and it wrecked his gut. His balance was all off, and it was off for a long, long time. So long, in fact, that it altered his genome. He had mutations in his genome that weren't supposed to be there, and those mutations were causing part of his digestive process to get skipped. And there's a big chart you can look at that shows like the digestive process and how the enzymes and stuff react with certain things, how chemicals go in your body, and how there can be something to these shortcuts and stuff. Well, one of the processes was totally interrupted because he was lacking the bacteria that broke down the protein that provided this nutrient that the body needs. He wasn't getting any of this nutrient, so it makes the body alter its processes, and he starts to generate sulfur, and the body couldn't get rid of the sulfur, and so the way it would do it was by excreting out his pores. And so after years, he just started to stink a lot, and he would get blisters that were just like sulfur in his blisters, and he had to soak and suck the sulfur out. And the doctors were like clueless; they had no idea what to do about it. They couldn't figure it out, and so he himself had his genome tested. That's how I know they were mutated. Figured out which one it was. Learned about this chart, and he was an electrician basically, like me in the Navy, right? No major college, nothing like that. Just our physics training, our radcon and chemistry and that kind of stuff. But he finds this chart, he's learned about the processes, and he figures out how to get nutrients in his body to restore this spot. The challenge is that he's allergic to antibiotics, and he had all this intestinal flora that was blocking this other bacteria from forming, which prevented him from getting this stuff. But anyways, on his own, he figured out how to restore his gut and how to get his body to reactivate and start performing the correct processes and cycles and stuff on his own. He figured this shit out, and it took about a year and a half of special dieting and things. He was combining certain stuff that would kill certain bacteria, and he was trying to introduce the new ones. And anyways, like I said, that year and a half, he was fucking cured. And he had his genome tested again. Those mutations were gone. Everything was acting normal. He had no sulfur, and his doctor was just blown away. He was like, "Dude, you are rewriting medicine." And so, like, there are things that are happening right now that are moving pretty quickly. There's some new cancer stuff that's out now. My friend, his father passed just a couple years ago, and these new treatments are showing so much potential that it's possible that if they had these just 2 years ago, his father might still be alive now. There's a lot of stuff happening. There's also a physicist, actually, a female physicist. She and her and a bunch of people that she knows, they cured breast cancer. They cured breast cancer in a lab, not in a human yet. But they took cancer tissue, cancer cells, and were able to get them to reprogram themselves into normal, healthy breast tissue. They didn't destroy the cells. They didn't do anything. They just reprogrammed it. Because cancer, turns out, is actually the cells. Back up. Think about it. With cancer, all the cells start off as the same thing, right? Stem cells, essentially.
Interesting question.
Shut up. I didn't ask you a thing. So they all start the same, and something in our bodies tells them what to become. Oh, you're lung tissue, or you're brain tissue, or you're a tendon, you're, right? And so this physicist was like, there's got to be something that tells them what to do. And so she and her crew, I don't know which one of them in there, figured it out. But like, she's a physicist. She's not even in the medical field. She just had this idea one day, and then started doing some research. Found out that what there is basically the answer to that is context. The cells figure out what they're supposed to be based on context, what's around them. So what cellular matrix they're in. how are the cells bonded? What is the lattice pattern of the cells? What is, the approximate hydration? What proteins are predominant in the cells around it? And so it learns or reacts to its surroundings to become that cell. So what they did is they figured out what the breast tissue, um, what the lattice structure was of this breast tissue. Essentially, I'm going to say lattice structure because that's what basically is the matrix that establishes, what the cells look like or the tissue looks like. Like if you look at a tendon, right? Tendons are long and stringy. Lungs are real porous. Brain's really fatty. Heart cells they're connected differently. All the cells are connected differently. And so she found the lattice pattern for breast tissue, and they 3D printed with a super expensive 3D printer, basically. I think it was 3D printed, she said. The lattice work that is that of the breast tissue, what normally be there. And when they applied the cancerous tissue to it, the cancerous tissue recognized the matrix that was being put into and reorganized itself and reformed normal functioning living breast tissue. So they didn't kill cancer, they fucking cured it. And that was a couple of years ago. So there's a lot of progress being made right now in that field and stuff. So whatever it is, hopefully it's one of those things. So don't lose hope. There's a lot of cool stuff going on in cancer research, and a lot of stuff happening right now, present. That's very revolutionary and life changing for some people. So, and a lot of it, like I said, is outside the normal realm because they're not treating that with medicine. Fried Hutch. Oh, you mean at the Hutch Medical Center? I had a friend, actually, if you guys know Maxwell Power Services, right? The name Maxwell was from Dr. Maxwell. He was one that, where we started. Yeah, Fred Hutch, right? We just called it the Hutch. He used to work there too, and his wife used to work at the Hutch. She did a lot of volunteering at the Hutch as well. Her name is Gwen Maxwell. Um, your dad might know Gwen. Actually, you should ask him if he knows Gwen Maxwell. But yeah, she did a lot of work at the Hutch too. And oh, my OBS is crashing. It says reconnection successful. So okay. Anyways, man. So yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff going on in that field. A lot of progress we made on it, and so I hope that it's one of those things that, whichever kind it is, I hope it's one of the ones that they're making progress on. I wish that for you guys very much so. And if not, um, obviously you got to focus on the kids as well. Um, how are they going to handle it? Kids don't, especially as young as you said, 7 and 3. 7, just starting to understand what loss might be. 3, not a chance, right? So, the two of you together could, if like I said, it's terminal or something, and you're planning for that, come up with some creative things for the kids, things to remember mom by, maybe some videos, some artwork, some things they did together, some experiences, things like that, and just other ways to remind them and to cement, in them, how great their mom is. So that's another thing for that. So, um, I think that's all I got to say about that at this time. That's all I got to say about that. But yeah, man, I wish you guys luck. Wish you guys luck. How's the KTM deposit? Oh, right on. Dude, KTM makes some pretty cool shit. I feel like they're way overpriced, but they make some cool shit. Speaking of overpriced, I got a side by side behind me. I got that Honda Talon. They're not cheap. They're pretty cool though, but they're not cheap. So Boy, I'm looking at my stream right now. What a fucking disaster it looks like on video. Well, I'll keep working on it. I will keep working on it. How many people we got here right now? 5? It always says 5, so really it's probably 4, maybe 3. So, yes. Oh shit! I gotta go check my pizza crust. I've got dough rising. It's probably fucking this gigantic right now in the kitchen. There's a big old thing of dough in there probably. My cats are probably stuck in. I'll probably walk in and see a paw sticking out of some dough. Trying to figure out how to get out of it. I'm making pizza tonight because the in-laws want pizza, and they said they're showing tonight, so I have to make a pizza. And then I'm making one though, which my wife is probably gonna be like, "What the fuck?" Because my wife can put down some fucking pizza. Holy shit, she can put down some pizza. She can out eat me when it comes to pizza. I don't know where she puts it, but man, can she eat some fucking pizza. So I have to restrict her. Make sure she saves some for her dad, because he's the one that asked for it. So only 2 slices each tonight. Boy, I might get divorced over this, because that's her love language is both physical but also pizza. Yeah, shit. Do I have everything for the pizza? I have enough. Oh, I didn't make the sauce yet. Fuck. I gotta make a sauce. I was scared at first. I love it now. I wouldn't trade it for the world. The power's awesome. And I rode the 890 around a month ago, and that one is super sick as well. Hey man, you're very welcome. I wish that I could say more. I lost. So, my dad's side of the family is very cancer prone. Everyone died from cancer. Everyone except for the one guy that everybody wished would die of cancer. But yeah, everyone's died of cancer on my dad's side. That's how they've gone every time, and they didn't live very long. We're built like sprinters, very muscular, lots of fast twitch muscle, and I feel like sprinters burn bright and burn out, and that's my dad's side. My dad's side is they're all sprinters. They burn bright and they burn out, and they all die at what is relatively young ages, due to cancer and stuff. So, it's an interesting thing for sure to know that it's just a matter of time for me. Like I know that it's around the corner at some point. I mean, I'm only 40 something years old, but I've lost members of my family, slightly after that. So it's something that I'm familiar with, and I hope that everything goes well for you, man. I really do. And I didn't realize these cabinets I bought have something sticking on them. Magnets. Just noticed these things. Water spray nozzles. Oh, that's a magnet. Water spray nozzles. Right now it's my tuning drawer. There's no nozzles in there. Just turbo speed sensors. All my DynoJet tuning stuff. Oh, do you guys know I tune UTVs? Yeah, I think nobody knows that yet. I've been kind of doing it on the DL, trying to get better at it, get more familiar with the platforms and that kind of stuff, and tuning them. I know that there's a lot of tuners out there that aren't any good. And I know there's a lot of guys that claim to be tuning them and then actually aren't doing much, or they're actually doing more harm than good. An example would be the Honda, for example. The Honda's already tuned really well from the factory. It's tuned really, really well. It doesn't need any timing added to it. It's already got all the timing it needs. If anything, it needs a little bit of fuel. It's tuned a smidge lean, in my opinion. It needs a smidge of fuel. So I added some fuel to it, and did a couple small changes to some things on it. Man, it's really good. It's really good. It's slow because it's just an NA 1000cc 700 fucking pound thing. But um, when I'm climbing rocks or a mountainside, I have never thought, oh man, I need more power. It's got enough power to do anything on the mountain. It does. You mean at 6,000 feet? I was at 6,000 feet climbing up these freaking rocks, and I didn't realize I'd climbed that far because there was no perceivable loss in power. Like it just kept trucking, kept pulling, it kept grunting. It's got great torque for something that spins the 8,500. Uh, it's a surprising little machine. But when I go to accelerate quickly or race somebody, then it becomes apparent how slow it is. Becomes apparent, especially when I put the 32s on it. Those things were like tying a pallet of cinder blocks to the back of it without wheels, and then maybe drag them around. It was a huge kick in the nuts for sure. Part of me wants to go smaller on the tire, but I really like the ground clearance they've afforded me on that. So, asked a minute ago, thoughts on the Greenspeed header. The Greenspeed header is weird. It's weird, but I don't hate it. I don't hate it, honestly. I put it on my car. It sounds different. Like it definitely has a different sound than any of the headers on the market. I prefer the map header, but the Greenspeed header is easier to fit on things. It's got good primary size. It's got good secondary size. It's obviously an unequal length header with some equal tendencies. It's a decent header. I haven't pushed it past 400 wheel, so I don't know how it'll do up higher than that if that was anything. But I was pretty impressed with the way it ran and the way it sounded. Those were good on, like I said, on like a medium-sized turbo. I think it was like Dom territory or 20G territory, something like that. It did pretty good. Sounds really good. And it's got some good geometry. And I say that, and because, or what I'm going to say now, is that I am very critical of Greenspeed products because a lot of their shit I think fucking sucks. But especially their blow off valves, I think they're absolute trash. They don't even fucking work. Just like their AOS, complete fucking garbage, doesn't work. And then they make this header, and the header is pretty cool. So I don't know if it's just they're out there throwing shit to the wall, seeing what sticks, or if they got different engineering teams, or if they're just like, whatever, people buy it, let's make it. I don't know what's going on over there, because they have some cool shit and they have absolute ass. So I don't know. I think that the blow-off valve is probably in response to like Greenspeed and the EPA because they're like, fuck, we need to make stuff that people can buy now. Because they used to do, external wastegate up pipes, which are no longer allowed. They actually had TDV leads for a little while. They don't have them anymore, but they had them years ago and they stopped making them. But I don't know why. I know, fuck. I don't want to say I'm barely getting by because I'm not barely getting by. What I'm trying to word is that as a business, with my products, I don't sell a lot of products. I don't sell a bunch. I don't get a lot of income from my product sales. I don't get a lot, even though it's the majority of my income, it isn't a lot. And I know that I need to expand my product base. And I know that I need to do some of the low hanging fruit items. Some of the stuff that might not do as much. Some of the stuff that might just be for dress up, for looks or whatever. And I have a really hard time doing that. I have a really hard time doing that. I like to solve problems, and I don't like putting stuff out there that's fake. Ah, fuck. That's not the text I wanted to get just now. So I've been really trying hard to find products that are good and useful, um, and not thousands of dollars. And honestly, it's hard. It's hard. I mean, I could do engine dress up stuff, and I think I'm going to because at least those do something. But I don't want to do blow off valves because there's already really good valves out there. The factory one, it's already freaking amazing. If I was to do a valve, it'd be a lot like the factory one. I change a couple small things and that's it, and it would fucking work great. But it'd be expensive because it would have an actual diaphragm in it, which is why no one does good blow off valves because no one does actual diaphragms except for Tile and every OEM manufacturer uses a non-metallic diaphragm. They use a diaphragm because it doesn't weigh anything. It provides good response. It seals. It's superior in every way to all the stuff that people say. There's no diaphragm. This thing's better. Like, no, it's not. It's worse because there's no diaphragm. When they just have a big metal slug that moves in and out, and that's this metal slug, the valve disc is also the diaphragm. That shit sucks. And you can listen to any video of the Grimsby blow-off valve, any video of the Turbo XS blow-off valve, any video of the Go Fast Bits blow-off valve, any video of the Boomba blow-off valve, and know that to be true, that they don't fucking work and they suck. Why? Because they don't have fucking diaphragms. Because they're using their disc as a diaphragm, and they don't respond well, and they have more friction, and they're just plain inferior. So I don't want to be that guy that creates a product that can get roasted like I'm roasting their stuff right now, right? I don't want to do that. And have a legit. I mean, people roast my fucking cooling all the time, but they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. So, there's that. I mean, authentic. It doesn't work, right? It's something when it really doesn't work. I don't want that. I want to make sure that what I make works. So, I don't want that low hanging fruit. I don't want to blow off valve. I mean, I could make a blow off valve, but like I said, it would be a lot like the factory one. It would have a diaphragm. It would be quick acting. It would handle more boost. It basically would be like the factory one, only modified a little bit to flow more, so that when you put it on bigger turbos and that kind of stuff, it has more flow rate through it. It wouldn't be atmospheric. I suppose you could potentially make it atmospheric if you wanted to, but that's not what I would do, because I want research. I don't know. Okay, I've been dancing here because I had a piss for so long. Just been here dancing. I don't know how it went away. I almost peed myself earlier. Sure, my bladder is thankful. So with that, I'm gonna go. I gotta make this pizza. I totally forgot about that. No, I don't want to turn around for it. Obviously, you're kidding. I actually didn't even know how to do that. I think what I would do is I would find the discharge rate limits and I would just hit plus a bunch until the rate limits went up, and I would bring them up until the motor started to smoke, and then the electric motor started to smoke, and then I would back it off 10%. So, hey Bradley, have a good one. I think I said Brady before, right? I'm Bradley. Have a good one. Good luck. I wish you guys the best. And Connor, thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it, guys. And hope you all have a good evening. I'm gonna go make some fucking pizza because that's my role as a husband is to make pizza, and also get ready to smoke a brisket. Oh, I gotta salt the brisket. Fuck. All right, I gotta do some stuff.